Hello everyone and welcome to It Goes Off, wrap of the round. We've just had round 20 and it was a round where a record was set, but Grantley Bernard, it wasn't a record that we were hoping to see. 43 points by the Cairns Taipans. We're hitting all-time lows.
It's unbelievable, isn't it? I mean, under 12 teams all around the country are scoring 43 points. And the Snakes come out with 43.
Incredible.
They are just up and down like the Assyrian Empire, aren't they?
They are. Well, talk us through all the winners and losers in round 20.
Certainly will. And it started off the New Zealand Breakers 82 over the Wollongong Hawks 74. The Hawks really made a game of this one. The Breakers, Abercrombie, had 25 points on 11 and 16 shooting. Cedric Jackson with 20 points and 10 rebounds. He just keeps on keeping on. For the Hawks, Catron and Ubaka combined for 27 points. The Breakers shot 31 of 61 from the field. That was 51%, which is pretty tidy. And they outscored the Hawks 44 to 20 with points in the paint. The Breakers only led by 2 after 3 quarters. They got the lead out to 11 late in the fourth, and they were able to win by 8 points. Townsville Crocodiles 74, the Cairns Taipans 43. This wasn't so much the reptile rumble as it was from the Cairns point. It was probably a bit of a reptile mumble, wasn't it? They didn't make any noise at all. Crawford had 14 for the Crocs and Gill 12 points on a perfect 4 of 4 from the field, and I think he also went 4 of 4 on free throws as well. Hill had 10 points and 6 board for the Taipans, and Warren had 10 points for the Taipans. So in effect, Hill and Warren accounted for half of the Cairns score. The Crocs led 62-34 after 3 quarters, so it was well and truly all over. The Crocs only shot at 43%, but the Taipans only shot at 26% from the field, 18 of 69 from the field for the Snakes. And that field goal percentage really couldn't go any lower than a snake's belly. The Crocs had 30 to 18 points in the paint and 44 to 37 rebounds. The Taipans have just thrown me right off. But the next night, the Snakes bounced back against the one and only Melbourne Tigers, 77 to 56. So they go from scoring 43 one night to 77 the next. Wilson with 25.7 rebounds. Aaron Grabeau pops up with a 13-point cameo for the Snakes. Allen, 13 points, 10 boards, and Trigar, a dozen points for the Tigers. The Taipans led 49 to 31 at the half, so they actually had more points in the first half than they did the whole game the previous night. They led the rebound count 43 to 31. Cairns actually got 18 points from second chance opportunities and turnovers, so that was a reasonable factor in the outcome there. The Tigers only shot 34% from the field. That's not going to win you too many games. Over in Perth, the Wildcats 91, the Sydney Kings 74. Jesse the Stuart Wagstaff had 25 points and 8 rebounds. Kevin Lish, 19 points. For the Kings, the Sydney Sound Machine, Anatoly Bose had 16 and Jerai Grant 12 points, 9 rebounds. Perth had a 36-20 second quarter. The Kings came back with a 22-10 third quarter, and then the Wildcats finally shut the lid on it with a 27-16 fourth quarter. The Wildcats only shot 39%, but they were able to get away from it. They generated 10 points from the Kings' 24 turnovers. Way too many turnovers for the Kings. Finally, the Gold Coast Blaze, 66, losing to the Townsville Crocodiles, 80. The win streak is over for the Blaze. De Leon had 22 points for the Blaze and Worthington 15 and 8 for Gold Coast. For the Crocs, Crawford 22 points on 8 of 11 field goals. That's pretty tidy. And Eddie Gill 18 points. The Crocs set this one up with a 23-12 first quarter. Again, poor shooting. The Crocs only went 38% from the field, but the Blaze was even worse at 34% and just 20% on three-pointers at 4 for 20. The Blaze also missed 11 free throws, so not a good night at all for the Gold Coast. The Crocs had 22 assists, so they played some good team basketball. As we said, the Blazers' 5-game winning streak is over.
It is over, but and because of that loss, they drop out of the top 4 as we take a look at the NBL table. And at the top, the Breakers back in the winning column with a 16-6 record. The Wildcats, impressive against the Sydney Kings, forcing them into 24 turnovers. So that extended pressure that the Wildcats are using this season working to great effect against the Kings. The Crocs were the big winners in round 20, back-to-back wins, and impressive wins at that after a horrendous round 19 when against the Adelaide 36ers, Paul Wolpert gave his team a spray, so they've bounced back in emphatic fashions. The Taipans, as you can see, back in the top 4. Then the Blaze, at 11 and 9, and we're at that point we can virtually put the line through as far as the playoffs are concerned through the Tigers, Kings, Hawks and the Sixers. Each of those teams can play a pivotal part in shaping the four, but you wouldn't think that they would be able to get there given that the Tigers are probably the best chance at 13 losses. They'd need to go 5-0 to even have a remote chance of making it in, and they'd need the teams above them to capitulate in a fashion you wouldn't expect. For all the goings-on in round 20 and a detailed look of what's going to happen in round 21, check out the full version of It Goes Off.